Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. Given that I got an enormous amount of positive feedback for my previous video, as promised, I'm doing the part 2, where I will be actually talking about the positive side of artisanal perfumery, and I will try to explain to people why, in general, when you pick this road, everything else pales in comparison, and there's basically no way back. At least for me, I can't see myself ever disregarding artisanal perfumery, ever coming back to some of the modern niche offerings, and well, I will talk about that in depth in this video. What are the main differences between niche and artisanal, and why, in my opinion, artisanal is by far the better choice. First, and probably most important difference and positive side of artisanal perfumery is the quality of materials. Stuff you get in fragrance like this, stuff you get in a fragrance like this, it's vastly different than what you find in regular niche perfumes. What are the differences? Well, it's basically differences between natural and lab manufactured ingredients. Probably most of you already know, but musk is illegal to use in Western Europe or North America because of understandable reasons, animal rights. Many species of musk deer are already extinct. Therefore, there's understandable restriction to safeguard the remaining deer from further extinction, just to forbid the use of musk. Fair enough. That's the one restriction I actually understand. I have no gripe with it. I'm just, happy that there are still ways to acquire natural musk. In Siberia, there are plenty of deer musk left because of the location. Only local people who are hunting the deer for survival are permitted, limited amount of hunted deers per year. I'm not sure how much we can trust the government, especially the government of Russia, to regulate these things correctly. So the implemented ban of use of musk in Western border is absolutely necessary, but not all restrictions and bans are actually necessary, but I will touch that on a different part in this video. But mainly in these bottles, in going artisanal, you can still get to try some materials that are absolutely gone from modern perfumery, and one of those materials is of course musk. Sadly, this is my favorite material of all. I like musk-based scents even more than I like oud-based scents, although obviously I love oud. But musk is something that brings joy to my heart when I smell it. Second material that is almost non-existent in modern niche perfumery, despite them using the word, the name of the fragrances, is oud. In actuality, modern niche fragrances rarely ever contain actual real organic oud. They use molecule accords that try to imitate the smell of oud with nalimbinol and, I don't know, probably 100 more formulas has been developed since the last time I cared or checked. So yeah, something like real wood. There is one fragrance that contains real wood in my local mall, niche perfume store, Frederick Mall, the night. But if you look at the price of the night, in many cases, most of the fragrances on this table pale in price compared to the price of the night. So yeah, if you actually want to get real wood in regular niche in your shopping mall, then your choices become even more scarce than artisanal fragrances, and sadly even more expensive. And even if the composition of the night is top notch, it's made by Dominique Rapion, that's the least you can expect. The wood used here, it's not bad, but it's just generic, simple Indian wood. It's not that expensive. It's more expensive than to make it synthetic, obviously. But the price of the fragrance does not reflect the price of the wood. You can buy that kind of quality wood for pretty cheap. For wood prices, I mean. So yeah, the third part of the ingredients you get in artisanal that you can't get in your regular niche are the IFRA restricted ingredients. For example, rose. IFRA only allows a very small portion of rose to be real rose to be in a composition, while artisanal perfumers can use as much of rose as they like. Oak moss, also restricted heavily, or it must be cleaned chemically of some materials in the oak moss that, according to IFRA, can cause allergic reactions. I mentioned this in one of my previous videos, but that whole study was just bonkers, levels of stupidity. To boil everything down to a few words, they put some oak moss on people's hand, they cover it with a patch, and they let it sit like this for some time. They remove the patch, and in 4% of people, they found a rash. And that's their basis for restricting oak moss use in perfumery. That's bullshit. As I said before, you can put nothing under the patch and just leave it for a few days, and because of lack of sunlight, lack of oxygen, and 4% of people will get a rash there. Why these restrictions are happening, again, you can call it one of my many fall hat theories, but basically big oil companies like Givaudan, IFF, and many others, they do not make money from perfumers using natural cheap ingredients. Oak moss was not expensive by any stretch of imagination. They make money when perfumers are creating fragrances with synthetic counterparts, synthetic materials that the oil company has produced and patented. Why would anyone use synthetic oak moss if the natural oak moss is cheaper and better? Nobody would. So what we lobby, we spend money to make politicians, to make IFRA, to make people in charge do these studies, to make these decisions, to restrict the use of cheap materials so that the oil company can sell their expensive counterparts. For example, you are not seeing something like wood being restricted, or even ambergris being restricted. Well, because the natural original part, the real ambergris, the real wood, is more expensive than the synthetic counterparts already. Trust me, if ever wood gets cheaper than nolimbinol or whatever they're using, they will find a way to restrict wood usage. They would do it in a heartbeat. It's all about the money, it's all about the economics. For example, they're even provide incentives for perfumers that work for them to use some materials manufactured by them, by offering better pay for every bottle sold and stuff like that. It's a rig. The system is quite rigged, and that's why I am very happy I can support these artisanal perfumers, artisanal brands that even had to leave Europe, leave USA. Most of them reside in Asia, in Thailand, where no such restrictions are present and they can work freely. And for me, as a bit of artistic person, I think when you start to restrict art, when you start to commercialize art, the art loses its meaning. And for me personally, almost all fragrances available in your regular mall or airport, for me, they are meaningless. There's no heart, no soul, no art. They're just smelly water for a lot of money. So yeah, this is probably the main top reason why I choose artisanal. But there are more reasons. Second reason, I guess, would be the uniqueness, the designs of scents and bottles. There are no rules. Nobody knows what they should do because the market is pretty small. So anything new you can come up with, anything interesting you can create, you can attract somebody's eyes. People do it. We see craziest things. One guy from Tsuga brand, he was adding his chest hair in every bottle of fragrance. I know it's stupid, but you can't ignore that it's also hilarious. As far as design comes, look at these bottles. Like, for example, my favorite design of Areej le Dore, this is Cure de Russie. This is an amazing bottle. A heavy as hell metal cap. It smells divine also. You can't find these kind of bottles in your regular mall. Look at this travel spray. This is basically just a sample. I know lighting is not the best, you can't see this, but this is engraved wood with very detailed personal work. Look at this bottle. This has a leather casing made by the same guy who decorated with leather the Pope's Bible, Bortnikov. Very cute metal cap. I'm sad he went away from these. This kind of bottle. Have you ever seen anything like this? It was supposed to represent the form of a tola for oud, because this is Indonesian oud, basically oud in alcohol. These, especially from Areej le Dore, are custom mold bottles. He doesn't have to do that. He absolutely doesn't have to do that, but he does it anyway. Almost with, I guess every other collection he releases, he does custom mold bottles. People put their heart in these fragrances. They go overboard. Can you imagine how expensive to make a custom mold and custom bottle? Do you think all the big houses use the same bottle for every fragrance, just changing a black because it's, I don't know, stylish? No, it's because it's cost efficient. To create a custom mold, custom bottle, and like Areej does it almost every other time. Nobody's doing it. And nobody's doing it for a reason, because it's expensive, it's not economically sound. But the best things, the best creations in human history are made when not the profit is first in mind. I can draw parallels. For example, architecture. Go outside, walk around, and take a good look at simple things, simple everyday constructions in your, let's say, old town. In your whatever town you're living in, go to Old Town. Look at decoration level of old buildings. Look at decoration level of old lampposts, old trash cans. I don't know, the phone booth in London, the iconic red one. old bridges you have, stuff like that. And then turn around and look at the new uniformed, all the same looking buildings and constructions and modern lamp posts and modern trash cans and modern everything in your city. Do a comparison of attention to detail. What is this attention to detail compared to any, initial bottle? Just a square. It's just a square, like any other square in their 100 bottle collection. Everything looks the same. In the city, modern construction, everything looks the same. Everything is cost efficient. Nothing has soul. I know I'm maybe sounding like a madman here, but that's what I feel. I go artisanal because for me fragrances are not about getting compliments or panty droppers, stuff like that. It's about experiencing the art, like with any other art form, like with music, like with paintings, movies. I don't like Transformers. I am not into, whatever is the now most popular pop singer. I'm not sure. I'm not into that. I want something unique. I want something that has meaning. I want something with substance, with ideas. That is not looking to be the bestseller. That is not looking to be the loudest or the brightest. I want something in many, many fields of life. I want something that is created to last, created for myself, and provided for others. Most of these scents, it's not like the perfumers here tried to make something that would please 1 million people. No. Artisanal perfumers, the real ones, they create for themselves. And if anybody else happened to like what they did, that's amazing. We all get to experience that. Nothing like this is left with regular niche. They're only numbers, test groups, and profit. And don't get me wrong, plenty of artisanal houses over the years sadly change. They become more profit driven because, again, it's only business. It's understandable even. But that's maybe why we're all looking for the oldest batches, first releases, where everything was about passion. And, well, I guess if you're spending this amount of money on a smelly water, and probably if you're watching this video for 18 minutes straight, it's also about passion for you. So, again, if you want to support art, if you want to, in general, be unique, because everybody is smelling like wood for greatness, you can try artisanal. You should try artisanal. And that's probably the end of this video. I have a few more things I want to say about this topic. Let's say a conclusion type of video, part 3, let's call it that. I will do probably this or next week. So thank you for watching. I hope you got something useful from my rant. I know this is basically babbling, this whole video, but when I talk from my heart, and I did today, it's hard to be precise. It's just emotion. So I wish you the best of emotions and have a good evening. Goodbye.